Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jaya Braja Janaranjana. Jaya Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Vihari. Jai Sri Sri Radha Madhava Ki Jai. Jai Sri Sri Radha Damodara Ki Jai. Jai Sri Sri Gaurnitai Ki Jai. Jai Sri Prahlad Narasingha Ki Jai. Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Jai Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bom. So we're continuing our study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Today's verse is number 6. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayum Mudirayet Nashtapraye Svabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Yuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Sigurun Dinatarinam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Tasyam bahutite kale Bhagavan Madhusudana Kardamam Viryam Apano Yagyegnir Iva Daruni Tasyam bahutite kale Bhagavan Madhusudana Kardamam Viryam Apano Yagyegnir Iva Daruni Tasyam bahutite kale Bhagavan Madhusudana Kardamam Viryam Apano Yagyegnir Iva Daruni. Tasyam in Devahuti, Bahuti Tikale, after many years, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Madhusudana, the killer of the demon Madhu, Kardamam of Kardama, Viryam, the semen, Apana, entered, Yagye, he appeared, Agni, fire, Eva, like, Daruni, in wood. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. After many, many years, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Madhusudana, the killer of the demon Madhu, having entered the semen of Kardama, appeared in Devahuti just as fire comes from wood in a sacrifice. Srila Prabhupada's purport. It is clearly stated here that the Lord is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead, although he appeared as the son of Kardama Muni. So Prabhupada's making this point that if Kardama Muni had a son, then how could that son be the Supreme Lord? So The Lord is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and by his own free will, by his pastimes, to please his devotees, he appears as someone's son. Then Prabhupada says that fire is already present in the wood, but by a certain process, the fire is kindled. So the fire comes out of the wood and burns the wood. So it's already there in a potential state. Similarly, God is all-pervading. He is everywhere. And since he may come out from everything, he appeared in his devotees' semina. Just as an ordinary living entity takes his birth by taking shelter of the semina of a certain living entity, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts the shelter of the semina of his devotee and comes out as his son. This manifests his full independence to act in any way, and it does not mean that he is an ordinary living entity forced to take birth in a certain type of womb. So here we see that Sri Krishna, when he wants to appear, he takes shelter of the sex life between the husband and the wife. And then he enters into the womb of the wife, and eventually he appears as the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their son. So this is something that other religious personalities may not be able to understand. But we should know that the Lord has multi-potencies, and there's nothing that he cannot do. He can do anything and everything according to his sweet will. So even he appears as the son of his pure devotees. Then Prabhupada gives another example, that Lord Nrsingadev appeared from the pillar of Hiranyakashipu's palace. And then another example, Lord Varaha appeared from the nostril of Lord Brahma. And Lord Kapila appeared from the semen of Kardama. But this does not mean that the nostril of Brahma or the pillar of Hiranyakashipu's palace or the semina of Kardama Muni is the source of the appearance of the Lord. So the example is given that just as fire is inherently potential in wood, and as heat is applied, that fire comes out. Similarly, the Lord is within anything and everything, and by his own potency, Atma Maya, he comes out in order to perform a pastime and to please his devotees. Therefore, the Lord is always the Lord. Bhagavan Madhusudana, he is the killer of all kinds of demons, and he always remains the Lord even if he appears as the son of a particular devotee. The word Kardamam is significant, for it indicates that the Lord had some devotional affection or relationship in devotional service with Kardama and Devahuti. But we should not mistakenly understand that he was born just like an ordinary living entity from the semina of Kardama Muni in the womb of Devahuti. So Prabhupada wants to make this point because the point is made in the shloka. Jagye Gnir Iva Dharani. He appeared like fire, which comes out of the wood. So certain conditions are required for fire to come out of the wood. If the wood is wet, then it takes a great amount of heat for the fire to come out, because the wetness cools everything down. But when the wood is dry, then it takes a very little bit amount of heat for the fire to come out. So similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, if the devotees are wet, if they're not really devotees, they're not really dedicated, they have other desires, then it's difficult for the Lord to manifest himself in their hearts because there's so many other desires in their hearts. And that's why Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekang shanaram vaja. Give up all these other desires, all these other dharmas, and make me number one. Because if you make me number one, it's very easy for me to manifest myself. So, Prabhupada says that Kardamam refers to the affectionate relationship that Kardama Muni and Devahuti had with the Lord because they were such sincere, purified devotees. So it was very easy for the Lord to appear as their son. So if we would like the Lord to appear in our family, it can happen, but we have to come to the level of Kardama Muni and Devahuti. Which means that we've got to come to the level that Krishna is number one in our life. And that all these other desires that we're harboring in our heart should be diminished. Now we can do that easily if we understand that these other desires in our heart do not bring happiness, do not bring satisfaction. The only thing that brings happiness and satisfaction is if we make Krishna number one. Because he is the source of all happiness. He is the source of all satisfaction. He's a source of all love. He's the source of all auspiciousness. He's the source of everything. So when we connect to the source, then we can easily experience those qualities. So we think that we're connecting to the source when we buy a new car, and the car is the source of our happiness. But after 20 years, we don't like that car anymore. It's an old, junky car. Let's get a new one. So the car is not really a source of happiness. It's just a shiny object that I think will give me happiness. But when the shine wears off, there's no happiness left. There's another shiny object which is now attracting me. So we shouldn't be attracted to all these various shiny objects that are simply distractions. But we should go to the source, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therein we will find our true satisfaction and our true happiness. So Prabhupada says that we shouldn't make a mistake. We shouldn't mistakenly understand something that is not correct. So we should understand the truth that the Supreme Lord is the source of everything, and he appears in the hearts and minds of his devotees when his devotees become purified of all these desires for shiny objects that they want to possess. So the meditation of the devotee should be that I only want to possess the love for my Lord. That's the only thing that will be fully satisfying. And when we're younger, this may be difficult to understand, or we may understand it theoretically or philosophically, but not practically, not able to implement it in our lives. That's when we're young. But one wonderful thing is that as you get older and older and older, this philosophy makes more and more sense. And then we realize, yes, this is really what I need to do. And time is against me. So here, bahutite kale. Kale means in time. Bahu means many, and tite means titis. So a titi is a day, but it's a lunar day, not a solar day. So we're used to solar days here. A titi is a lunar day, and it's almost the same amount of time as a solar day, but just a little bit less. I think something like 5%. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember exactly, but something like that, 5% less, or maybe even less than 5%. And that's why we see phases of the moon. Because as the sun is going around in a solar day, the moon goes around, but it lags behind a certain amount. And then on the second day, it lags behind more. And the third day, it lags behind even more. And the fourth day, it lags behind even more. Therefore, we see different faces of the moon, which we call phases of the moon. So the moon is still there in fullness, but we don't see it all because of the lag period in the revolution of what we call a day or a titi. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared after some time in the womb of Devahuti, and he was the Supreme Lord Bhagavan, the killer of the demon named Madhu, who was a great demon in the very beginning of creation. Kardamam Viryam Apano, and he appeared in the semina of Kardama Muni, and thus entered into the womb of Devahuti through sex life. That's how it works in this material world. We all know that. And the Supreme Lord appeared from the womb of Devahuti subsequently, Bahutite Kale, after many titis, after many lunar days, just like fire comes out of the wood. So that's the analogy, that the wood is inert, but fire can come out of that wood because it's already in there in potentiality. It's potential energy. And so in the hearts and minds of the pure devotees, the Lord may be there. And under the right conditions, the Lord manifests himself and he comes out so that everyone can see. So Prabhupada makes the point that the Lord is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead in any condition of life. He may appear as Matsya Avatar. So he appears in the dynasty of the aquatics. So in the oceans, there are so many aquatics, and then there's the supreme aquatic, Matsya Avatar, personification of the Lord. So he appears even in the species, the various species, the species of the aquatics. And then Prabhupada also mentions here in this purport, Varahadev. So the Lord appears also in the species of animals. And he mentions Lord Nrsingadev. The Lord can appear in a completely new species that we've never even heard of. Half man, half lion. So the Supreme Personality of Godhead controls everything. He is the controller of everything. He is the cause of everything. He's the beginning of everything. And he's the end of everything. And he's the middle of everything. Because he's eternal. So he appears by his own sweet will for his own purposes and to fulfill the desire of his devotees, out of affection for his devotees. So this Supreme Lord, who's unlimitedly powerful, and he's the controller of all potencies and energies that exist in this universe and other universes, we can have a relationship of love with such a person. That's quite astonishing when you think about it. Like I'm an ant compared to Krishna, but he will agree to enter into a loving relationship with this ant-like person. That's amazing. And once I understand that, truly understand that, then I have to be so impressed by this opportunity that I just dedicate myself to making it a reality. Because to be blasé about this and just take it easily, simply, and not really dedicate ourselves to it, means that we don't really fully appreciate the understanding. So Prabhupada is so kind to us. He's come to give us that which no one else has ever been able to give, and that's pure devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, in Goloka Vrindavan, not Vishnu in Vaikuntha, or not some other incarnation, some other place, but directly to enter into the Nitya Lila, the eternal pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's the representative of Lord Chaitanya, who introduced this very deep tattva to humanity. And it would have been lost had it not been for the acharyas coming in parampara. For example, after the Lord Chaitanya had left the planet and the Panchatattva, they had all left and returned back to their original abode, then there was a Muslim occupation at the time, that we understand. So Shah Jahan was the Muslim emperor, and he was pretty good, generally speaking, as good as a Muslim can be. But his son was a total demon. So when Shah Jahan left his body, and from what some people say, he was murdered by his son, because his son couldn't wait till the father died, that he would become the emperor, so he just... I don't even like to mention his name. He's such a demon. And so he tried to destroy all the temples and deities in Vrindavan. And when the Vrindavan devotees realized that he was coming with his army to destroy everything, they had to protect the deities. So in those days, there were ox carts. There were no trucks. And these ox carts would deliver different things. So one of the things that they would deliver would be straw. So they hid the deities on the ox cart, covered with straw. And no one would suspect that the deities are there. And these ox carts went to Jaipur, where they were protected. So when this demon emperor came, the deities were already gone. But he tried to destroy the temples. The Govindaji temple, we understand, was 6 or 7 stories high. Today, if you see, it's only 3 stories high. So he destroyed the top parts. So the demons are those who do not accept the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They want that recognition. This demon emperor, he wanted to be worshipped by everyone. Ravana wanted to be worshipped by everyone. He wanted to be supreme. So he stole the wife of Lord Ram. Hiranyakashipu wanted to be supreme. But all of them were vanquished in the end. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as Prabhupada says here, it is clearly stated that the Lord is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no matter how he appears. Even he appears in his deity form. In the deity form is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we can bring it out by our devotion, by our devotional service. And we have kind of our own experience on this, because our deities, Sri Sri Radha Damodar, when we first brought them from India and we started to worship them and love them and serve them, we've seen, because Kishore is always taking photos, and we see over the years how they've transformed. They've become just more and more there, more and more reciprocating with us. And we can actually see that as our devotional increases, they're coming out more and more, letting us know, yes, we're actually Sri Radha and Sri Damodar from Goloka Vrindavan, which is quite amazing in itself. So we have to understand this. But beyond just understanding it intellectually, we have to apply this understanding in our lives, in our moment to moment to moment to moment daily lives. Then we'll get the result. Otherwise, we won't get the result. Just for example, you want to light a fire. If you take one match and hold it there with the wood and the wood doesn't burn, you give up. It takes a little more than a match. You have to use a little intelligence to get the fire, to bring it to enough heat that more fire can come out from the wood and more until you have a blazing fire. So some people are very expert at lighting a fire, and other people just can't light a fire no matter what. So just as wood comes out of fire, as this verse is explaining, Supreme Lord can come out of his deity form and manifest himself to the devotee and in the heart of the devotee and in the soul of the devotee. And that is the source of all happiness. That is the source of all satisfaction, and not the shiny objects. Of course, in the world, they're selling shiny objects. You go to any shop, any mall, anywhere you go, they're selling shiny objects. So we're conditioned to think that these beautiful, brand new shiny objects is the source of our happiness. But it always looks better in the store than when you bring it home. So this is all marketing. They're all brainwashing us just to take the money out of our pockets, that hard-earned money that we're working so hard with our blood, sweat, and tears to earn just to survive in this material world, and all these shiny objects there just to take everything away with the illusion that this will give you happiness. So we have the deepest, most profound understanding from Srila Prabhupada. So let us not end up as fool number one and miss out on this opportunity, but let us combinedly work together to help one another to make Krishna the reality in each and every one of our hearts, and try to the best of our ability to share this with other people. Of course, we don't force, because love means no force, but we share, because sharing means caring. And so we put on programs, we chant for the people, we cook for the people, we offer them so many things to eat, to read, to study. In this way we try to share, and this pleases the Lord also so much. So basically, this is the purport of this shloka, that after many years of devotional service, the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Lord, the source of everything, will appear to us as reciprocation for our devotion. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Are there any comments or questions? You were first, then you. Okay, what does it mean that devotees are like desire trees that can fulfill the desires of everyone? Well, a desire tree, kalpavriksha, means that in the spiritual world you can approach such a tree and you can ask for anything and get it in return. Don't ask for a shiny object, though. So similarly, devotees should be like that when I approach a devotee, because I have a problem or a challenge or a difficulty, then the devotee will reciprocate, stop whatever they're doing to help me, and to give me understanding, to give me affection, to give me love, to give me whatever it is I need. So in this way, the devotees are like desire trees that can fulfill the desires of everyone. What are the desires of everyone? To be happy. That's the number one desire, because everyone's suffering. And yesterday, this one lady here asked, can we stop the suffering? We can reduce it substantially, but because we're living in the material world, which is where the suffering is part and parcel of existence, we can't completely eradicate it, but we can reduce it unlimitedly. So that is why a devotee is a desire tree, because they can help you reduce the suffering and put happiness and joy into your life. As long as there's no doubts in our mind. Because the doubts, as Arjuna says to Krishna, the doubts are like demons. And then I forget myself, I lose my composure. And I forget everything that I know, and I become bewildered. So these doubts, they bewilder us, and then we become forgetful of our real treasure that we have in devotional service. So when a devotee experiences these, he comes to another devotee, and as a desire tree fulfills all desire, that more advanced devotee releases all the doubts, extinguishes all the doubts, destroys all the doubts, so that we can again be situated and fixed in devotional service with enthusiasm and patience. We all know Rome wasn't built in a day, so we have to have patience and enthusiasm. And these two things, daryat, patience, and utsaha, enthusiasm, are the most important things to carry us forward to cross the ocean of material suffering and to reach the other shore of devotional service, of joy and bliss. So devotee is an ocean of mercy, like a desire tree, because he is fulfilling the desires of the conditioned souls to come to happiness, to cross the ocean, to come to the other side, where this suffering is reduced to practically nil. Okay? Thank you. How do you keep your enthusiasm? That was a question that one devotee asked Vishnujan Maharaj. He was always going out, chanting, always enthusing everybody, always fired up. So one devotee came to him one time and said, Maharaj, I want to be as enthusiastic as you. You're always enthusiastic. He said, I'm not always enthusiastic. I'm struggling with material energy just like you. He said, but if you want to become always enthusiastic, even when you're not feeling enthusiastic, you act as if you were enthusiastic. And by that acting enthusiastically, you become enthusiastic. And it's just like if you're doing a drama and you take a certain role. Let's say you're taking the role of Radharani in the Krishna Lila play. And when you go on the stage, you become Radharani. And then when you come off, everyone says, that was the best Radharani I ever saw. I really thought you were Radha. It was so perfect. It was so fantastic. You see what I'm saying? So a good actress can become the part. So similarly, if we're not enthusiastic, we just act as if we're enthusiastic, and then we become enthusiastic, just like you can become Radha in the drama. Clear? Isn't that tiring? Well, everything you do in the material world is tiring because you have to expend energy. The question is, where do you want to expend your energy? You want to become tired serving the Lord, or you want to become tired serving the senses? Choice is yours. We're not forcing anybody. But when you have the correct understanding, you make the right choice. Don't you get fried at work? You're sitting there in your cubicle, writing these programming thing. What are you, C++? Yeah. Doesn't it get boring after a while? Yeah. So, so it's like that with everything. But the wonderful thing about devotional service, that in the beginning it appears like something else that you would do and you get tired. But as you become more and more devotional, it becomes less and less poison and more like nectar, until all you want to do is that. It's just, you can't imagine doing anything else. Like, I was a musician my whole life. I always played, violin as a child. I played in the orchestra. Then when I was older, I played in bands, rock bands. So I always played music. But I always got bored after a certain period of time because it's not Satchidananda. So, and my mother always used to say, "You're not doing your best." And she was right. I wasn't doing my best because I became bored. But when I came to Krishna consciousness, then I never got bored. Now I sing Jai Radha Madhava, a million times, every day for like 40 years. And I'm not bored. It's ecstatic, it's blissful. I'm full of taste and nectar, So we can experience that Satchit Ananda quality. Chanting Hare Krishna, we can experience it. After a million times of chanting, you can experience it. But you have to do it correctly. If you do it wrong, do it offensively, you can't expect to get the result. So we have to do our part to do it correctly, with humility, with care, and with attention. And then the Mahamantra, who is non-different than Krishna, will reciprocate with you. And it'll be ecstatic. Any other points? Yes. Well, it doesn't say many, many years. It says many, many days. A titi is a day. In the translation, it says years. After many, many years. Well, a titi is a day. It's a lunar day. After a long time of many lunar days. So if you have 1,000,000 lunar days, that's many years. So, I mean, this is all the information we're given. I can speculate, if you want, that perhaps it took a longer time than they expected for the Lord to come, because he comes by his own sweet will. We're expecting after 9 months, but maybe it took longer, for whatever reason. Maybe to make Devahuti more expectant, more desiring, oh, he's in my womb, when's he going to come out? So, the Lord sometimes delays things to increase our expectation and increase our desire for the ultimate result. He does do that in different pastimes. Although it's not mentioned here, but that could be a reason, or there could be some other reason. And because it's not mentioned, why it took more than a normal amount of time. So we don't speculate about it. It took more than a normal amount of time, that's it. But when the Lord, we're talking about the Lord and pure devotees, so we're not going to put them in a box. Everything that we do, that they are also under the same stringent laws of material nature. They're not. Plus, it happened in another yuga also. It wasn't in Kali Yuga. So it happened in another yuga altogether where the time factor was also different. See? So there could be many explanations. But, that's not a big concern of ours. That it? Valentina? No questions today? All doubts are clear. Uh-huh. Well, if you still haven't come to terms, then you're still thinking about it and trying to apply it in your own understanding. So,
It's like you said today that we don't have information. Like for Krishna, there can be many modes.
yeah,
And sometimes you wonder why did he use exactly those words,
yeah.
knowing that they can cause doubt for us. Why
Well,
would he say most if our experience of most is not the same as his?
well, the doubts that are caused are because we have in our minds a particular idea that we have a lot of faith in. And then when another perspective comes that challenges our perspective, then we have to deal with that. So I may be convinced that such and such is true, and then I hear from the Shastra that such and such is not true. I have doubts with that, and I'll give you a perfect example. Every person on this planet, when they go for preschool, the first thing they learn, the first two things they learn is 1 + 1 = 2, and the earth you live on is a globe. And they show it you. It goes round and round, and here's where you live. This is Romania, this is America, like that. So you grow up believing the earth is a globe. But where's the proof? There's no real proof. And according to the Shastra, according to Sukadeva Goswami, he says the earth is not a globe. It's a horizontal plane. So some devotees have a problem with that because they're so convinced the earth is a globe that they have a problem with that. So I've written some books on cosmology, and I'm writing another book now. I'm doing the research for it. And that book's going to be called The Globe Earth on Trial. Because there are many anomalies. And when Prabhupada was challenged in this regard, this is the answer he gave. This is Prabhupada's answer. He said, I have not done any experiments to prove the what's the word, description, or the form of the earth. And you have not done any experiments to prove your side, what you believe. I have faith in my authority. You have faith in your authority. That's it. None of us have done an experiment to prove whether the earth is flat or round. But a pizza is flat and round simultaneously. Right? It's flat, but it's round. So, since none of us have done any experiments to prove what we believe to be true, we're putting our faith in some other authority, maybe the authority of the educational system. Prabhupada said, well, my faith is in my authority, Srimad Bhagavatam and Sukadeva Goswami. So the same for me. I also thought the earth was a globe. I also was brainwashed my whole life. But when I studied what Sukadeva Goswami was saying and discussed it with other devotees, I began to come to a different understanding. So there are many things like this that we believe in our heart is actual truth and may not be the truth. And I have faith that what's coming from here is really the truth, because that's how it's being presented to us. So now the choice is yours. Who do I accept as my authority? Where do I place my faith? In the professors at the university or the acharyas in Parampara? Science we've been brainwashed that science means that we know everything. It's completely bogus, as I show in my book, Cosmology on Trial. It's mostly speculation. There's no data. And that's why the book was called Cosmology on Trial, because in a court of law, you can't present speculation as evidence. You can't present ideas as evidence. You have to have real data to be evidence. And in this theoretical courtroom case in my book, we bring all the scientists in and we analyze it, and there's no proof. It's all just ideas based on mathematics. Mathematics on paper. There you go. E equals mc squared, therefore, and then they expand it unlimitedly. And we just buy it without even thinking, blindly, blind faith. We want to pass the exam, so we accept it and we write it down as our answer on the exam because we want to advance. We want to go higher and higher. We want to get our degree and we want to go into the workplace and get a good job. So we accept all these things. But what is the motivation for accepting it? Money. That I get a good education, I get a good job, and I get money. And the proof that you're only there for the money is that if your company says to you, we're downsizing now, business hasn't been so good, but we think that you're one of our best employees, but we'd like you to carry on working, but we won't be able to pay you. How many people would continue working with no money? Nobody, okay. So you're only there for the money, that's the proof. So we're being bribed by money, and here Prabhupada's presenting something else. We're being bribed by establishing a loving relationship with the Supreme Lord, which is the true thing, which has more value. Where should I place my faith? Because it's just faith in the beginning. I have no proof, no evidence, I haven't done any experiments. Who do I accept as my authority? So you have to ask yourself that question also. Who am I accepting as my authority? And why am I accepting whatever authority I'm accepting? What is the proof? Maybe you need to read my book, Cosmology on Trial. Once you see that the whole thing is all speculation, and there's no actual data there, it might change your whole perspective on modern education and science. Now, technology is different. Technology we know works. We have laptops, we have smartphones. Technology works. But cosmology, it's all speculation. It's not really science, but they put it under the science category, even though there's no proof for hardly anything. Now, just imagine, this is what I'm going to give you a little sample of my next book, because I'm going to raise this point in my next book. Just imagine, what if the Earth was not a globe? Just for the sake of argument, what if it is actually a horizontal plane, as is stated in every scripture of the world? Not just our scriptures, but the Christian, the Muslim, the Jewish, the Buddhist, all scriptures. Earth is a flat, not flat, horizontal plane. We don't say flat because if you have mountains and valleys, that's not flat. Flat is a tabletop. So a horizontal plane. So I will pose this question: what if it's discovered that the Earth is not a globe? And it's only recently, in the last 50 years, that we were able to fly high enough to see. Because up to 50 years ago, no one had ever seen such a thing. So assume that America, the X-15 was a plane that flew the highest in the 1950s, and they had cameras on board. So let's assume that they see that the Earth is not a globe. Now, what will that government do? How will they respond? If they say we made a mistake and the earth is not a globe, what happens? It means that most of the sciences are finished. Cosmology is finished. Astronomy is finished. All the professors that are teaching that, they're out of a job. All the religionists say, we were right all along. This is what it says in our Bible, in our Quran, in our Torah. It would mean that science comes crashing down and religion gets a huge boost. So that's one option. We admit the truth. Or the other option is we carry on with the hoax for as long as we can play it out. Because we don't want to destroy science. These people are all atheistic. The last thing they want is for the religionists to all of a sudden gain prominence. We were right all along, science was wrong. So that's what they've done. They've carried on the hoax for as long as they can, and the moon hoax is a hoax. 25% of the population of America in a recent survey believe that the moon was a hoax. That's over 80 million people just in America, what to speak of the rest of the world. So this hoax is slowly fraying. They're not going to be able to hold it together much longer. And, you know, if you go onto YouTube and you just search for flat earth, there's thousands and thousands of videos now. More and more people have come to the conclusion that the globe earth is a hoax. 2 years ago, 2014, if you put in flat earth and search for it, you got 50,000 hits. In 2015, you got over 1 million hits. When you search for flat earth 2016 in January, you got almost 2 million hits. Now, I didn't check it today, but I will. Just type in flat earth and see how many hits you get on Google. Just Google it. And it's going exponentially. More and more people are coming to this realization that the globe earth doesn't add up. And now they're saying that the earth is not a globe, but it's an oblate spheroid. Have you heard that? An oblate spheroid means that it's fatter at the equator and less at the poles. Well, if it's an oblate spheroid today, why is it that they've been showing us photos of perfect circles for the last 50 years and saying this is a photo of the earth? They're being exposed. It's all coming to an end very quickly. So you get my point? So that's the issue. Where we will place our faith, in which authority. It's that simple. Which authority am I placing my faith? Because I'm not doing any experiments to prove anything. Neither are you. Clear? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sorry to go over so late, but